Everything's under control. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Huge.
All right, so the actual news: Dave Filoni has been upgraded, I guess. Promoted to CCO or Chief Creative Officer. So there's a couple things that are in this. Technically, he was already promoted once, but I think they moved him up to Executive Creative Officer or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
He
It was like 2 years ago.
oversees
It was a quiet one.
Yeah.
But the problem, or what he talked about today was the fact, or at least in this interview, whenever it took place, was that that was more after the fact. So he wasn't there in the inception of a lot of these shows or movies or anything like that. He came in more afterwards. So with this, he has he's almost equal to Kathleen Kennedy when it comes to the hierarchy at Lucasfilm. And now
Almost
he will
equal?
be I don't know. He will be he will be there for the inception of a lot of the, I guess, everything moving forward, creative wise.
They're making another Inception movie.
They're making another Inception movie. So that it's got me intrigued. I'm processing it. I'm not sure how I feel about it because I'm of two minds.
Really?
And I will throw out a few reasons why.
No, just throw
I've
them
heard
out right
both. All right. So first thing is Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
And I feel like he's been involved with a lot of projects moving forward or in the past. And I feel like the ones that he was really heavily involved with, I haven't really loved a lot of them, to be honest. And it makes me slightly nervous. And things that he said in the past, I feel like he's really, really buddy-buddy with KK. I know he can make a great film or make a great show. Like the animated shows are fantastic. I know he does a great job. But I'm wavering with Dave right now. And he's going to have to really prove himself. I'll just say that. On the other hand, he could come out with, now that he's in the lead with this, he might be able to catch a lot of these things before they get on air, and maybe he can line everything up so that it's one cohesive story moving forward. Now, if that's the way he goes and it makes sense and he tells a great story that's fantastic and isn't, pushing too many agendas, that's the other thing I'm kind of scared of with him. I think it'd be great. But if he doesn't, if it's more Obi-Wan or more like Boba Fett or Ahsoka even, I hate to say that in some ways, I'm not sure we're going to get good quality. So what do you guys think? What do you think, Nick?
That's all I have to say.
Wow, indifferent.
You kind of
I mean, I'm more hopeful now. Hopefully that, KK's on our way out. Maybe not. But yeah.
It's definitely a real possibility.
I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's, it's up in the air. Like, it could go good, it could go bad.
Yeah.
It's 50-50.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Hunter. Let's get your thoughts on the matter.
Well, I agree with both of you guys on this. It's like when I first heard it, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, this doesn't guarantee we're gonna get something good. You know what I mean?
Right,
I love Dave Filoni. Like I want to love Dave Filoni, but
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would have most people crying in this chat if they knew my thoughts about Ahsoka. So
Right.
we might not go there. So
Yeah, it's almost like too little, too late kind of thing.
yeah,
It
I mean,
should have been done
it's-
a few years ago.
it's an absolute coin toss.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that he's done that was phenomenal, but like he hasn't exactly impressed me much lately.
No.
Yeah.
So the
Say
way I
like,
see it.
would it? I think it would be different if they announced this or they did this move back after like season
Mando.
2 of Mando.
Yeah.
Like if they dropped this
Yeah.
news
Yeah.
after season 2 of Mando with like, did we get Tales of the Jedi then too? Or
We did.
was like right after
Yeah.
that?
I think it was right.
I think
after.
we would have been over the moon. I think we would have been like, yeah, man, they're obviously
Finally.
going the right way,
Yeah.
dude. Yes, and we hadn't seen a miss from him really.
The
yet.
interesting thing for me is that a lot of
go Dan.
times
Go Dan.
Lucasfilm is so reactionary and so is Disney.
Flip-floppy.
They're like, oh, this guy's hot. Let's promote him. Oh, this person's really bad. Let's not. You know what I mean? So in some ways, he just kind of dipped a little bit. He's been kind of dipping. And then he gets the promotion, the super promotion. It's a weird thing.
It
It's
is.
a weird thing. I think I heard one person say, this is a little pessimistic, but there was one person that said that now that Filoni's there in charge of all creative, like all the movies, he has a hand in them from the ground up. All the TV shows, he has a hand in them from the ground up, which is great because he knows Star Wars. That's a positive thing.
Yeah.
another pessimistic thing. They said, well, now he's like the fall guy for Kathleen Kennedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so I've heard that like now he can get blamed, whereas she can be invincible on South Park.
Right.
So, which is not going to happen. But that was one person's opinion. Take it or leave it.
Well, it could have been a direct reaction to South Park if you think about it in some ways. That drops. KK gets roasted. Disney's losing money left and right.
Hand over
And
fist.
they're like, yeah, thank you. And then they're like, well, we got to recover some PR here. Who in Lucasfilm or Disney has like some good rapport or standing with the fans or with the community?
Well, they've tried
Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
All right, let's promote him. Make it look like we're getting rid of KK, even though she's still probably going to be lurking over his shoulder.
Right.
And there you go. So that's. I feel like it could have been a direct response to that. What do you guys think about
Smells
that?
like a PR move to me.
Right.
Yeah.
One Hondo.
Yeah, and then once the show does well, whatever he does, she'll be like, "Look, you see what I did?
See what I did?
This is my
All
show.
me.
I did this."
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's what's going to happen.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
The funny
a
thing
win
is
for
that,
her.
Yeah.
if you are losing, and they've tried everything in their opinion, right? They've tried all their stuff. It's not working.
No.
You got to go with the next best thing, right? The only thing, well, I guess we'll try the Dave Filoni leading all the creative. We'll
Yeah.
throw that out there. Where we've been
Yeah.
all screaming for that for like 5 years or longer. Since he finished Rebels, really.
Yeah.
And Clone Wars season 7, we're like, yeah, give it to Filoni. And then we were excited that he was involved with Mando, but it was confusing. You're like, well, the episodes that he directed in Mando were not very good, but we gave him a pass because he is not.
He's an animator.
He's an animator, so he tries, but the directing is just not working with the actors.
Yeah.
And I could say the same for a lot of Ahsoka. Felt like some of the acting was just like
Wooden.
And maybe that's the actor's fault, but I feel like, but he didn't direct all those either. He wrote the
No.
story, but
But this could be a good thing though. Now I'm thinking about it a little bit more.
It's a
Like-
terrible,
No.
terrible thing. to
So
do.
like, think about this: Dave Filoni is the heir apparent to George Lucas. That's what we always said.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
after a few things that have happened, we're kind of like on the fence about that. I mean, he still is. But the thing is, with George Lucas, when it worked the best was you take his ideas, you take his story, you take his overarching knowledge of the property and the universe, and you give that to directors who can bring that to life in a great way, and then you have him like manage that or basically guide it so it doesn't get off track. Could work out in some ways if Dave Filoni's not actually doing the directing of a lot of these things, that they get some actual talented directors in there to do it, and he guides them on the path like a George Lucas could do. So that's the only positive. Sorry, go ahead, fact checker.
I was just gonna say, he's gonna be too busy to direct and do all of it.
And it's not his strong suit, I feel like, especially for live action. I mean, granted, he's still starting off, so we can't roast him too much because but we've already given him a little bit of grace. Yeah,
Hunter can.
Hunter can.
I definitely can.
Yeah, that's. But I was gonna say that, Nick. Are you glad that your Sith apprentice is live on air with you tonight?
Absolutely.
One
it's like two
to
peas
embody
in a
the
pod.
power,
Yes.
and one to crave it.
One to crave it.
That's right.
I just love that you both are on live tonight.
And we're
Makes me
both
happy.
wearing black.
I know you
Yes.
coordinated.
That's right.
Did you guys coordinate
I think we did.
like mentally through the force?
Telepathetically.
He even put on the
Emphasis
right
on-
amount of makeup, just like I did too.
Exactly. We gotta look pasty white.
Right.
I gotta say,
Pasty white.
Hunter, your backdrop is looking fine though. I like that.
is.
It looks
Yeah,
legit.
shout out.
I know.
Yeah, it's nice. I like the guitars too.
With
yeah.
teasers, there's a lot more coming.
Okay,
with that.
sorry.
Come on, Dan. Don't spoil it.
But anyway, yeah. So
and
let's
the-
get our final thoughts here on the Dave Filoni HoloNet. What does chat saying?
Yeah, the
Fact checker?
chat's agreeing. Like,
I just make fun of myself because I can't talk.
What
the
Jan doing?
the stunt librarian.
He beat us to it this
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah, I did.
The stunt librarian jumped in and said, "Yeah, it was for PR." And but Mrs. Manrique said, "At least PR is listening to fans."
Are they,
And
though?
so yeah, I have hope.
Although people now are split on him. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I've seen
But
online.
give him-
Too late, man.
Give him some grace. He didn't.
No.
He wasn't a part of
'cause they
everything
should've done it
we've
forever
had
ago.
released lately. So maybe we don't know what all was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, we just expected. I think Ahsoka. If Ahsoka had been out of the park.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like we know he can do with animation.
But there was parts of it that was out of the park.
there were parts that were incredible.
Name one.
The episode with Anakin. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Out of the park, though.
Which
Yes.
I mean, there
but
was a build there. There was a lot of hype.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
yeah.
really
Getting
could
there,
have.
What does
but I
Hunter
s-
say?
It still hit that backdrop there. It didn't
Yeah.
make it out of the park.
Yeah.
yeah, the thing about that though is even the Anakin thing was literally pulling from his own creation beforehand and just bringing it into live action, which was also inspired still by George Lucas.
I did like that aspect.
I
though.
liked it. That's definitely the best
Live
part of the
action
whole
clones.
show. But it was live. I just
That was
wanted to see
pretty
live
cool.
action. What do you think, Hunter? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I stand by what I said. 50-50. It's a coin toss. We're not going to overcomplicate it.
Yeah. How many more chances do we give him? That's the thing. I mean, you guys don't, but I.
Well, now
sometimes give him.
that he's involved, every project moving forward, because there's no excuse, right? Because he
Yeah.
said, "Well, I wasn't able to come in until later on," and then-
Exactly.
now, if he's involved at the beginning and they start to dip, now we could say the Acolyte coming out is going to be trash, and that's
Oh, it's not shown.
and he can say, well,
Yeah.
you know, I wasn't involved from the beginning because they already had it done before I got promoted.
Right,
So there's going to still be a lag period where there's going to be some stuff, Skeleton Crew and maybe Andor season 2, which I think is going to be phenomenal. And then, but I think it's more for him in the film world. He needs to
Yeah.
be there at conception at the beginning of all these films. And I think all the films have been just waffling. Like, well, Taika Waititi's movie and James Mangold, this other one. And I
Yeah,
think everybody's
yeah,
like trying to
yeah.
write, and then the writer's strike happens, and they're like, we don't know how to write Sith. We don't know what do Jedi do. Dave, can you help us?
We have nothing to pull from.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Yeah,
they have
oh
no
my
idea.
gosh.
And the
Dumbest
writers,
thing ever.
you know, hopefully now that the writers are going to
Punch
make a
you
little
in the
more
throat.
dough, they'll write some legit stuff, and then they can have Filoni over their shoulder, like telling them, no, that's not what a Sith does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Jedi doesn't just like practice for like 12 minutes and can like force
Right.
push somebody across
They're
a
not-
giant chasm.
Not Mary Sue's.
Yeah, it's
But you
Yeah.
wouldn't have gotten Omega without.
Omega.
Omega.
From the
Oh,
cares about her.
Oh,
Man,
goodness.
That's one of the worst characters they've come up with in a long time, dude.
Omega.
Omega
so
hurt us.
mad.
Yeah.
Omega really did hurt us.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people in the chat like Omega, and that's totally fine. But
And they can be wrong.
for us, us
Okay.
5 dudes, we it hurt us very, very deeply.
It was like, why? Why did you do
Every
that?
time she came on the screen, it was like
it was
misery.
painful. It was cringe.
Yeah. It's like,
Is that what the kids say nowadays? It's cringe.
you know,
Cringe.
maybe.
I think that's what the kids say these days.
I think that's what the kids say. That's what the kids say.
I don't understand your hip young lingo.
I hate it.
No, but one last thing on this though. Would you guys have been a lot more excited if they announced that Jon Favreau was going to
Yes.
be the chief creator?
Ooh.
Honestly, if he
Yeah.
was announced to be like the CEO,
Or that?
yeah, I'd be like,
And
no,
maybe-
hands
maybe
down,
they're-
this is going to be great.
Maybe they're working towards that.
Yeah.
In the background.
Possible.
See the thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, now that he's there, he can help Favreau come in.
Although
Yeah.
a lot of chatter I've heard in the back or online
it?
is that
Whoa.
they might have offered it to him and he turned it down. And I don't blame the
Well,
guy
yeah.
if he turned him
Mhm.
down.
Well,
if he
he's got
still
too
has to
many
work
other
with KK.
aspirations,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's got his own company. So why would he
Right.
like join the side that's falling into the ground if they're not going to give him like he already tried to save Star Wars. That's the thing. Like
Well, yeah.
like Jon Favreau was bringing Star Wars back from the grave
From
with
the
Mando
brink.
season 1 and
Right.
season 2. And then I think that's whenever KK and maybe Dave, I don't know, got involved
Yeah.
and then tanked everything. I mean, quality went down
Yeah, I think it was more KK.
hardcore from there.
Yeah.
It was
Like Hunter
bad.
says, the
But-
quality's in the tank.
Right, Hunter?
Tank, baby.
yeah.
No, I think Favreau is a good starter. And he's not a company man. Like Filoni is a Lucasfilm
No.
company man, so Filoni deserved it. But if
Yeah,
Favreau took it over,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't make sense because he did so much for Marvel, and then he kind of got out, and now he's done a lot for the beginning of Star Wars. With Mando at
Yeah.
least, and now he's gonna kind of move on and go do something else.
Yeah,
Right.
but with him though, like his ability to network and get people to work together in harmony, like as a team. Everybody who talks about like Jon Favreau and working with them, they're always just like he's such a pleasure to work
Yeah,
with.
right.
He has when I see him like behind the scenes and stuff like that, he has a fun attitude, but
Yep.
with a commanding presence. Still, it's not a
Yeah.
demanding presence. It's just a soft spoken. I'm in charge, but we're gonna work together on this. But
Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Let's get it done. So that's what I really like about Jon Favreau, and he's obviously super creative. When you come from his pedigree with all the hits that he's got, I mean, he's the one who I really think that he's one of the biggest reasons that the Marvel Cinematic Universe got off the ground. I think he did a lot
Right.
more behind the scenes than what people
Yeah,
realize. So, and I think that once he left and started working on Star Wars, I mean, didn't it basically tank? Yeah. So,
Explosions.
all right, but we got a lot more to get to.
Yeah,
you
we
guys have
do.
any final thoughts on that before we move on?
I think those were the final thoughts.
Don't screw it up.
Yep. it's a
Yeah,
great
don't
it's
screw
a
it up.
great move. It was an exciting announcement, and we just now the time to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, we're
Give us some greatness.
I'm tentative. On
Cautiously
That's what
optimistic.
I'm looking for. Man, I can't think of anything, Denny. Cautiously optimistic. What do you think, Hunter? Last thoughts on it?
Don't fumble the ball in the end zone. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
Good reference.
Yep.